Men and Women of Color podcast. I am your host, Ann Austin, and it is once again my pleasure to bring quality programs to all of you. I am excited, yes, again, to be back here with another amazing individual who is out there risking her life and representing women firefighters from around the country. Can't wait to talk to her today because in 2019, we are going bigger and better, and this is definitely the platform to be on. If you've never heard of us before, the BMWC platform is an international podcast platform that unifies people from around the world to talk about their speaking, their publications, their career, or their business, and to share that information with you so that you can make an informed decision about your career and business. So make sure that you take a moment to visit all the pages and just listen to everybody's story. You'll be amazed what you'll find out. And also don't forget to like, share, and vote. We have 7 BMWC awards that we're giving out again this year. So make sure you vote for your favorite. And before we even get started in this amazing interview today, we would like to take a moment to thank our corporate sponsors who are My Financial Home, Evangelism Radio, J&F Enterprises, Sears Consulting, Autism Families Rock, Awakening to Love, Eli Natoli, Kimberly Metamore, True Synergy, and Platinum Financial Services, along with all of our BMWC participants who are helping to make this season a huge, huge success. So today we have another amazing African-American woman of color in the firefighting industry, and I am so happy because she is also being featured in the April edition of the BMWC magazine. So today we're going to be talking to Toni Washington, who joined the city of Decatur in 2009 as the first African American and first female to serve as the Fire Chief Emergency Manager. She was the 4th African American female fire chief nation's history. Her work involves planning and managing the operations of the fire department in fire prevention, fire suppression, emergency management, and emergency medical services. Chief Washington has also worked diligently to educate the public on fire safety, and she began her public safety career at State Fire Marshal's office, and then she went on to Metro Atlanta Fire Department, where she was promoted up the rank to Deputy Fire Chief. She is not only doing this, but she's also serving as an African American female and fire chief in the nation, and she is so proud of that. And as you guys continue to read her amazing bio, we're going to get right into this interview right now. Hey, Toni, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, how are you?
Girl, I am just like tongue-tied, throat-tied, trying to get all these accolades. I am just so like overwhelmed and amazed and just thank you for your service. I don't even know. I'm just so amazed about your background, and definitely it is an honor and a pleasure to have you on this podcast platform to just tell everybody who you are and where you came from. I can't wait. Let's get in it.
Sure, I'm ready.
All right. So just go ahead and introduce yourself. And where did you grow up? And did you always have an interest in the fire department?
So, again, my name is Toni Washington, and I am the fire chief for the City of Decatur Fire Rescue in Georgia. Yes, I am the 4th named woman fire chief African American in the nation. There've only been 6 total named to date, and I just happen to be the 4th, and now the only active woman African American fire chief now. So I
Wow.
grew up in Savannah, Georgia. I was actually born in Queens, New York, but I spent the majority of my life in Savannah, Georgia. I'm one of 9 kids, huge family, and always have played the authority role in my family. So what I'm doing now is just a continuation what I've always done in my life.
Okay. And so I just think that's awesome to be 4th ranking in the nation and the only active. I mean, how awesome is that? And I can see by your bio, you didn't really start off that way, and then you kind of went into business administration and marketing. So how did that come about after you graduated high school? Was that something that you had a great interest in, or did you kind of do something with your degree after that?
So, again, if I could just talk about a little bit about my feeling and being the only one, I always tell people it's bittersweet. It's sweet that I was able to attain the level of leadership that I'm currently in, but I guess it's bitter that I am the only one, and it's 2019, and for me, that's not such a good feeling. So. Um, the next few years and the last few years, I've been really actively working trying to get more women
Mm-hmm.
and more African American women
Mm-hmm.
just exposed to the fire service because
Mm-hmm.
it was never my dream to be a firefighter. I went to college. I studied marketing and management. I was not sure exactly what I was going to do. I started off in sales. That didn't work out. I didn't really enjoy it. So I started working for the Georgia State Fire Marshal um, back in the early 90s. And when that happened, I found myself without a job because we changed commissioners and I needed a job. So I kind of took one of the fire chiefs up on their offer because they were really out, really recruiting women because they didn't have any. So with that, I joined the East Point Fire Department here in Georgia. It's right close to the Atlanta Hartsfield Airport. And I joined them, and I was one of 7 women hired in the city of East Point. So again, it wasn't my dream. Never thought about being a firefighter. I kind of stumbled into it. I guess what I did know going in, after I realized I was going to have to ride on the back of a truck, that I was not going to stay there long. That was
Mm.
not my destiny. That I was going to move up the ranks.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting that you said that, that for you, it's just not a good feeling. But I guess for the rest of us, it is because you're right. There's not much conversation about going into firefighting when you're coming out of school or even in college. It's one of those careers that you don't talk about that much. It's out there and people do those type of occupations, but it's not promoted as hey, you can grow up and be this and this, a firefighter or whatever. It's always the traditional get a job in retail, get a job in management and technology, those top 4 or 5, but never construction, never plumbing, never
Right.
firefighter or police officer. So I think for me in this podcast platform, which is why I'm excited about it, because I get to expose and help you to bring exposure to the opportunities for women in general to be in the firefighting field, and particularly those of color or minorities. This is an occupation that is not, should not be discriminated against because you're female or what have you. I just think that, like you said, more exposure just needs to be brought to that. And so that's my aim for the magazine and that's my aim for the podcast. So that's why I feel excited. But I do feel that maybe at some point you should be excited too, right?
Right, right. I'm excited. That's why I call it bittersweet because I get
Mhm.
excited when I know that, one of the things I love about the job is mentoring people and having that impact on the lives of, our youth. And so those are the kind of things that I really, really, really enjoy. But when I look back and I say it's 2019 and I'm the only one, that kind of makes me sad because I think back,
Yeah.
did we
Mhm.
really, or did I really do enough to ensure that there were more? So that's why I guess these last few years and these next few years are so critical for me because I want to make sure that we expose minorities to the fire service because it is a well kept secret. Not everybody knows. We have the job is so fulfilling. The schedule, serving people, all of that kind of stuff. And you're right, people don't talk about,
Mhm.
the things that the great things that are really explore the fire profession. It's the
Mhm.
nurses, the doctors, and yeah, we need
Mhm.
all of those too. But the fire
Mhm.
service is a great career.
Okay, well, let's share some of that information with the listeners. So, can you name like 2 or 3 top things that that they will find challenging if they were to pursue a career in firefighting? And then I'll ask you a second question after that.
Okay. So, I guess I would, instead of saying challenging, I guess I would like to say the things that we love about the job, and that's serving people. And um, I like for people to feel good. I like for people to feel safe. I like for them to be informed. And in this profession, you can do all of that because firefighters, we do more than just fight fire. We run emergency medical calls. We do community risk reduction. Those are programs that educate the community and help them to be safe. So imagine your family is sleeping at night and an electrical fire starts and the smoke alarm goes off and your family gets out safe and the fire department arrives and put out the fire. And think back, just 3 weeks later, we were just there to install your smoke alarm. So, things like that, people have to visualize and know that, there's so much fulfilling things in the fire department that it kind of overcomes all of the challenges that we minorities or anybody that may face coming into the profession. It is, you have to be fit. You cannot be claustrophobic. You cannot have a criminal history. You have to have a good driving record. Those are some of the initial challenges that people face coming in the fire service. But of course, we can work through all of that stuff. So it's just an awesome opportunity, and I just would like to for other minorities to be exposed to the profession.
Awesome, awesome. I think you answered like both my questions there because I was going to ask you about what you love about it and what people can expect. Because I think one of the things that I like to also bring out is, the realism of what it takes for you to be in a position. And while, you have other activities that is really engaging the community, it is something that people have to have a specific mindset to do, to go in and help people regardless of where they're from and their background. And so I would like to ask, in addition to some of the stuff you mentioned for your firehouse, do you all also engage in like, firefighting like jobs, maybe internships, or maybe have schools come down and check you guys out, or do you go to the schools and just bring awareness there as well?
Yes, every opportunity that we get, we are in the schools educating, we're mentoring, we're exposing, we're inspiring, we're motivating. We do all of that stuff. So yes, my department is always out there, and I think I can speak for a lot of departments. They are continuously in the schools trying to reach the people or the young people that are coming up behind us or the young professionals. So yes, we take that opportunity to not only educate them on how to expose them to the fire service and the opportunities within our profession.
Fantastic. Okay. So outside of the firefighting profession, what do you do personally outside of all of that you engage in?
I do. I am a very big family person. I try to spend as much time with my family that I can when I'm not working. I have two grandsons, I have three daughters, and then I have two son-in-laws, and then my husband. So, and then like I said before, I am one of nine. So I have eight siblings. So we have a huge
Wow.
family, and my mom always expects for us to get together. So, we do a lot of traveling together. We do a lot of relaxing. I try to get my reading in, although it's hard
Mhm.
to read, freely. So,
What's
I
some of
do
your
things
favorite
like
books? What's some of your favorite books that you
uh,
like to read?
I used to read a lot of Toni Morrison's books. Of course, I got Michelle Obama's book that I have not had a chance to read yet, but I plan on getting that done the first week in April. I've read a couple of President Obama's books. So, I try to do a mix of a little pleasure and also professional reading.
Fantastic. And so I see on your bio that you're working with the Cobb Micro Enterprise Council. What is that all about?
So I used to work for Cobb Micro Enterprise Council before I made chief. And what that was an organization that helped low to moderate income people attain self sufficiency through their businesses. So I have not done that work probably in about probably about 13 to 16 years now. Once I made chief, I just didn't have that extra time as a firefighter in the field that I do now.
Okay, so here's an interesting question swinging back to the firefighting. You keep bringing me back to the firefight because it sounds so interesting. What can you name like the major differences? And of course, we know chief means that you're managing a lot of things, but what is some of the major responsibilities of being a fire chief as opposed to being a lieutenant or just a firefighter in general?
So some of the major differences is you're responsible for everyone's life. Everything is in your hand. There also is a lot of administrative budgeting, personnel issues, human relations, just the whole administration of daily operations, as far as it relates to financials. I'm also responsible for the vision of where we're going in the future, not just looking at where we are and how we tackle this incident. I have to look into the future and say, okay, this is what I see. Program development. Oh, there are so many aspects that as
Yeah.
a chief that I have as it relates to when I was in operations as just a firefighter. Now, the firefighters, some of the officers do have some administrative and fiscal duties, but not nearly compared to the things that I have to deal with. So I'm responsible
Mhm.
for everyone, fire employee as well as everybody in the community.
Wow, that sounds amazing. And so, coming up in the next several months, does your firehouse have any events that you would like to let people know about so they can come out and meet you guys? Or, if any events that you have going up, you can definitely talk about that here now.
Sure. So we have in Decatur, Georgia, we have several ongoing community risk reduction programs. We have car seat fittings, we have free CPRs, we install free smoke alarms and carbon monoxide detectors. Um, we do a pet sticker program. I always laugh about the pet sticker program. People, we
Sure.
love our indicator. We love our pets. So in the fire department, we
Mm,
love our pets too. So we have
okay,
programs for the pets also. We have
nice.
a new campaign called Stop the Bleed that the firefighters are really going out and
Mm,
getting into our schools and teaching these educators on how to assist us in the event that they have an emergency and they need to do some things before we get there. So it's just so much going on. We have over 19 ongoing programs in the city of
mm.
Decatur.
Okay, and where can they find this information?
For this information, they can find it at www.decatur, that's DECATURGA.com.
Nice. Okay, and I have one final question for you. So, what do you need personally and professionally to keep thriving and doing what you're doing? What do you need?
Oh, what do I need? Oh, that's a loaded question. So I
Yes,
think
it
what
is.
has kept me going is
Yes.
really the support that I've received internally and externally. And I say that, I have a lot of peers that really support me and check on me and, keep me going. Because as you can imagine, there's been a lot of obstacles that I've faced and barriers throughout my tenure of 25 plus years in the fire service. And so I just need that continuous support and also that feeling of I'm helping somebody, I'm impacting some lives. As long as I have that, the obstacles, the barriers are just that. They're not going to stop me. I'm going to continue to move forward.
Fantastic. And so, guys that are listening right now, for me, I'm just still amazed of all the things that you accomplish. And I want to make sure that people really understand that there is a future in firefighting or even becoming a fire chief. And it is possible to go into a career of this nature and feel like that you have fulfilled something in your life. That is the whole mission of the BNWOC. And I hope people are listening to not only Tony's story, but also everybody else's story and the other fire chiefs that we have on this podcast this year. Make sure that you listen to their stories and see what they're going through so that you can make a decision on what you want to do. And so I want to thank you so much, Miss Washington, for number one, serving our country and being a first responder and representing all women of color here in the nation. Definitely has been an honor, and I'm so proud to have interviewed you today. You might say it's bittersweet, but it is a milestone by far for many. So thank you so very much.
Thank you for having me.